today's episode, we are going to get started with sending text messages to the channels that we created in the last couple of episodes, and also handling some of the bugs that we discovered in those episodes as well. But before we get into writing some code, I'm just going to demo really quickly what we're going to be building today in the completed version of our project. So right here on the simulator, this is the completed version, and the plan today is to be able to go into a chat room like we have right here, compose a message, right, just a text message, send a message, and also be able to receive the message instantaneously inside of our chat room. And of course, if we go out of our chat room, we can still see that last message that we just sent. But yeah, the focus is just on sending text messages. We're going to handle photo, video, and voice messages later in upcoming episodes. But yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. Now let's jump right into Xcode and get started with writing some functionality. Now that we're in Xcode, let us run our project in the simulator to make sure everything is working, and also let us recreate the bug that we discovered in the last episode. So during the channel creation process, let's say we wanted to chat with QA user 18, right? We go into this chat room. We did notice whenever we exit out of the chat room, we're actually not fetching that new channel that was recently created. And the bug is actually, a little bit confusing, but after I debugged off screen, I found the solution. And let's jump right into our channel tab view model. And so right here in our get channel members method, I'm going to add a little bit of optimization to this method, and I'll explain what I really mean by that. So the first thing I want us to do is I want us to just filter out, I'm going to get the currently logged in user ID actually. So that current UID, actually we might have it up here. I'm just going to copy this and paste it right here. So we have the currently logged in user. And what do I want to do? Well, I'm going to get the channel members, and I'm going to say channel.member UIDs. I mean the channel member UIDs, mind you. And I'm going to filter out the currently logged in user from this list of UIDs. Okay. And then I'm going to get the first two. And so why am I getting the first two for a specific channel? Because when you think about it, let's go into our simulator. Inside of our simulator right here, all that we need to really power a channel is actually just two members. That's all the metadata that we need for a channel that we're displaying in this chat screen. And for example, let's say we create a group channel really quickly, just for demo purposes. It has 4 members, including the currently logged in user. Let's click create. And since the bug still exists, let us comment this out and run this to show you what I mean. I'm going to comment this out as well. Run this really quickly. Okay, so if we jump here, and as you can see, all that we need is actually just, as you can see, it says QA user 11, QA user 18, and 1 others. So almost in every situation, we're only going to need 2 members in this specific screen. We only need to get 2 member information. So there's no reason for us to be fetching all of the channel members inside of the channel tab view model anyway, because as you can imagine, a channel can have up to 12 members, and that's just, overfetching. And so that's what we're going to try to fix for right now. And it's also going to solve the bug that we currently have. And so it's a pretty nifty solution. So let's go right ahead, filter out the channel member UIDs. I'm going to call that UIDs. And I'm getting the first 2, and I'm going to convert this into an array. So I'm going to wrap this in an array. Okay. And the prefix is just going to get the first 2 inside of this array. Excuse me, guys. And so instead of channel the member UIDs, I'm just going to pass in this channel member UIDs, array of string that I just created. So now let's run our project on a simulator, and let's try to create a new channel, and we should get that information. And so let's go new channel. Let's say we wanted to create a channel with QA user 26. Come back. If we go back out, as you can see, we have QA user 26 right here. Although now it has a bunch of duplicate channels, but we're going to fix that. And the reason for that is because we're using an array right now, and we need to convert this, data structure from an array to some sort of a dictionary. But we're going to handle that. Let's take it one step at a time. So the other thing right now is the channel name logic is also flawed, and we need to really flush that out and fix that solution pretty quickly. So right here it's saying QA user 18 and QA user 11, and we know that's not correct. We know there are actually 3 members in a specific channel. And the reason this logic is now broken is because if we jump inside of our channel item view, so I'm going to look for channel item, I'm going to jump right into channel item right here, inside of our channel item view model, not view model, channel item model. And if we look at this group members names, right, it just returns a string. It's a computer property. We're using members excluding me count. And now we know that's no longer going to be correct because we're only fetching 2 members inside of the channel tab view model again. So now instead of using members excluding me to count, we could just do members count, which is all of the counts in that specific channel, all of the members counts in that specific channel. And we know that is always going to exist because we're actually creating that. Whenever we create a new channel, we're actually adding the members count. And the -1 is I'm trying to subtract the currently logged in user, okay? And so what do we need to do after this? Well, everything stays the same. So we just get this members count -1, which is subtracting the currently logged in user, and that information should be correct now. So let's run the project really quickly again, and we should be getting the correct counts for a group channel name. And so if you look at this, it says QA user 18, 11, and it should say and 1 others. And don't worry about this bug as well. We're going to fix that. And so right out there, let us test this again. Let us try to start a channel with QA user 31. If we do that, it pushes us to the screen. When we go back out, as you can see, if we scroll down here, we have QA user 31 right here. And okay, now let us fix why, when we create a new channel, it's creating a bunch of duplicate channels inside of this channel tab screen. And the reason is actually because, like I said earlier, we're using an array. And if we jump back into Xcode, and if we go inside of our channel tab view model, right here, as you can see, whenever a new channel comes in, we're observing it. This is an observe, right? It's an active listener to our backend. We're appending all of the channels all over again. And we know we don't really want that, right? But we also still want to listen to anything that's going on in a specific channel. And so the solution for that is for us to create a channel dictionary. So I'm going to go right up here. I'm going to create a published property. And I'm going to call it channel dictionary. And it's going to just be an array of string and, as the key, and channel item, the actual channel, as the value. And, I'm going to make this a little bit more readable. So I'm going to create a type alias. I like using type alias for situations like this because it just makes your code a little bit more readable. And what I'm really talking about here is a channel ID. That's the string. And so just calling the string, it's just, you might be like, what is that? But if you call it a channel ID, now it's just a dictionary of channel ID and channel item. And so where are we going to use this channel dictionary? Well, we're going to go right into where we're actually appending our channels, which is in this getChannel method. And really what we're going to do is, instead of saying self.channels.append channel, we're not going to do that right here. What we're going to do instead is we are going to say, let's see. Let us first create another method actually down here to help us append these items. So we're going to create a method called reload data. I know this is sort of a UI kit terminology, but bear with me here. And really what I'm going to do first and foremost is I'm going to say the channel items, is going to be an array of channel dictionary dot values, right? And now I'm going to go up here where instead of appending directly into the channels up here, I'm going to append into the channel dictionary using my channel ID as the key that I already have right here. And I'm going to say the value is this new channel that is coming through the pipeline. And so essentially I'm storing these arrays, I'm storing this channel inside of a dictionary and using their channel ID as the key to be able to access it. And then right here, I'm of course accessing those values. And so now I'm going to call right here, I'm going to call the reload data. So I'm going to say self.reload data, and let us run our project really quickly. And let's see what's going on. So now we're no longer directly just appending into an array, and you see what I mean really quickly. So if we go here, and let's say we create a new channel, this time around, let us look for, QA user 4. We go here. If we go back out, as you can see, there's no longer duplicate channels. There's just QA user 4. All of the channels are unique. That's inside of our channel tab screen. So that fixes it for us. I would also like for us to arrange these channels. QA user 4 should be at the top because it's the most recently created channel, and it's a very easy way for us to fix it. Thankfully, we have if we jump inside of our channel items, so I'm going to jump into channel item real quickly. We have this property that we set while we're creating our channels called last message timestamp. And we're just going to use this last message timestamp to order or sort our channels. So I'm going to say self.channels.sort. And, all I want to do is if the last message timestamp is greater than last message timestamp, right? Sort it in the right order. And so we're going to run this on a simulator and let's see what happens. So if we go back out now, as you can see, QA user 4 is now the top channel in our list. And let's do this really quickly again. Let's create a new channel. Let's do a group channel this time around. And let's say, we them boys. Let's go right out. No. Let's go right ahead and create that. And if we go back out, as you can see, that is the first channel at the top of our list. So that's great progress. Now let us jump right into the main course meal for today's episode, which is to be able to send messages from our chat room. And the first thing we need to actually handle is to be able to get the message string from our text input area into this channel tab view model. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go up here and I'm going to create a publish property, of course, and I'm going to call it text message. And text message is just going to be the string that houses the actual message inside of this input area. So if we jump into our simulator really quickly, and we go right in here, we have this test input area that we built a while ago. When you type in a message in here, we want to be able to grab that from the channel tab view model. And so we can upload that to our backend. And so I'm going to create this publish property. And then I'm going to go into our text input area. I think that's inside of the chat folder. So I'm going to close some of this other folders like the auth folder. We don't need that right now. And if we go inside of our chat folder views, we have this text input area file. And right now, let us run our SwiftUI preview. So we see what we're dealing with. Right now, as you can see, we have the state property up here, which is the text. Well, this shouldn't be a state because this is not supposed to, we don't want this inside of this text input area. We want the state to exist inside of our view model. And then we want to bind it down to the text input area. And let's wait for SwiftUI preview to do its thing. Sometimes it just takes forever. Okay, so there we go. We have our text input area, and we know we can type in there and everything works. But right now, we want to be able to pass this data. So I'm going to change this from a state to a binding property because that's what this really is. So I'm going to say binding var. I'm going to say text message, and it's going to be of type string, and it doesn't have a value because it's a binding. And now we're going to change this from text to text message right up here. And now it's going to yell at us at the, what is it called? The preview. So let us just fix that with a constant of, just an empty message. And now it's also going to yell at us inside of our chat tab screen. So I'm going to open the chat tab screen, which is inside of the channels folder. So if we go into our chat tab screen right here, we're actually, where is it actually? So let us look for where it's complaining right there. I mean, chat room screen. Sorry, guys, not chat tab screen, chat room screen. So we have this text input area, which is in the save area inset. And I'm going to fix that. And all I'm going to say right now is I'm going to access that view model. Actually, I think we made a mistake. So the channel tab view model is not where we want the message, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to go to the chat room screen, and I'm going to put that text message here as a state property for now. And I'm going to bind that to our text input area. Okay, let's wait for everything to run. Make sure the preview is working. Okay, so our preview is working right now, and that's great. The next thing we need to do is we need to create a view model. I just realized we don't actually have a chat room view model. And I'm just going to go inside of the chat folder. So I'll close the channel folder for now. Inside of the chat folder, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it view models. And we're going to create a chat room view model really quickly. So an observable object, it's going to be a Swift file, and we're just going to call it chat room view model. And I'm going to make it a final class. Right? And then it's an observable object because we want to be able to listen to changes. And now we're going to go back to our chat room screen, and then we're going to copy this state. We're going to cut the state, right? We're going to move it to our chat room view model, and we're going to change this to a publish property because we want to publish properties using combine. So let's import combine because I know we're going to be using that inside of this file anyways. And now we have our text message. Our chat room screen is going to yell at us because it's saying we no longer have, a local property called text message. So we're just going to say view model text message. Now we're binding it to the text message that's inside of our chat room view model. So let us refresh our SwiftUI preview, make sure everything is working. This is yelling at us. I'm not sure why. Oh yeah, we need to create a view model. I'm sorry guys, I am tripping right now. So we need to create a state object, private var view model inside of our chat room screen. And it's just going to be off top chat room view model. There we go. Come on, SwiftUI preview takes forever sometimes. There we go. So let us enter this text. Make sure everything's working as expected. The next thing that if we exit out of Xcode and we launch the completed project, so in the completed project, if we go to the chat room screen, as you can see by default, the send button is actually disabled unless you actually have a text in the input area. So I'm going to quickly set up the logic to undo that. And the solution for that is for us to jump into our text input area file. So inside of our text input area, I'm going to create a logic that says disable send button. I love using computer properties for situations like this. And all I'm trying to do is I'm just going to say if the text message return, if text message that is empty or white space, like we already created this empty or white space reusable extension, then, we're going to disable the send button. And the solution to that is we're going to jump into our send message button right here. And let's see, what do we want to do actually? We want to apply the disable modifier. So actually, let's go back up here instead of the view body. We're going to just add the disabled, and we just disabled send button. And we're going to add a grayscale when it's disabled. So I'm going to say disable send button, if that is true, right? Let's make the grayscale 0.8, else it's just 0. Okay, and let's see. There we go. That looks pretty good on the preview. And let us test it really quickly on the simulator but before we do that, let's jump to our channel room view model. And let's create a function. And we're just going to call this function send text or just send message. And all I want us to do is to print the message that we actually just entered. So I'm just going to say text message is equals to that. And let's print that out. And all we're going to do now is we're going to go back to our text input area. We actually want to be able to pass the send button or the send action from here to our chat room view model, of course. And the solution for that, for us to do that, is to actually just create some sort of a onsend handler. So I'm going to say onsend handler, which is just going to be a closure. And it's going to be a void. Oh, it's of type closure. Yep. Thank you, Xcode. And now we're going to go into our send button right here. We're just going to say onsend handler. And the preview is going to yell at us. Let us fix that. We're going to use the trailing closure syntax, and that's all we need to do there. So now let's jump back to our chat room screen and let's access that onSend handler. So essentially when the send button is tapped, this onSend handler is going to fire. And all we're going to do right here is we're just going to say view model dot send message. Let's just say that view model dot send message, and let us validate that everything is working. We have our preview. Let us type in something in here. Let us click the send button. Look at that. We are getting that right there. And so that means everything is working as expected. Now, let us actually handle sending of messages. And so if we go back to our chat room view model, I already know that this view model is going to be very heavy because we're going to be doing a lot of interesting functionalities for this chat room screen. And so I would like to create some sort of abstraction that helps us handle some of this messages related functionality. For example, sending a message, decoding a message, adding a reaction to a message, functionalities like that. I'm just going to create a dedicated struct that handles that for us. And I'm going to go into our service class and I'm going to create a new service. And I don't know, let's call this a message service. I think that's a good name. Message service. And just like the user service, it's going to be a struct and it's going to be of type message service. And really what the message service is going to be doing for us is pretty simple. I'm just going to, let me put a little bit of documentation up here. I'm just going to say, handles sending and fetching messages and setting reactions. Okay. And so the first method I'm going to create in this, message service is, of course, something that helps us send text message. So I'm just going to create a static function. I'm going to say send text message, okay, to channel. And that channel is going to be of type channel item, of course. And we need to know who's sending the message. So let's just say from current user, and it's going to be of type, user item. And of course, the actual text message that we want to send, we need to pass that in as a parameter. It's going to be of type string. And now let's just return a closure at the end. So I'll just say uncomplete. And uncomplete, it's just going to return this, and it's just going to return void. Just a simple closure. All right, so now what we're going to do is, that is yelling at us. Let me see what mistake, what am I missing? Text message, unsend. Oh yeah, there's no error here. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah, I'm just tripping today. My syntax is all over the place. So now let's go back to our chat room view model. So inside of our chat room view model, now we're just going to say message service dot send text message, right? Now it's going to ask us for a whole bunch of information. So, who's sending a message and all those type of things. And if you really think about it, what's really a text message, right? It's just it's a string, but that contains a bunch of metadata about who sent the message, when the message was sent, and if it's of type text or image or video, things like that. And so we need to pass all of that information into this message service for it to properly upload the message to our backend. And we're just going to get right into that. So the first thing that we need is a channel, and that makes sense. So we're going to say this chat room itself should be injected with a channel. So I'm going to create a channel. I'm going to ask for a channel. I'm going to say it's of type channel item, and let's just mark this as private. And let's create an initializer here. We're going to need one anyways. And I'm going to say channel item, and I'm going to say self.channel is, of course, this channel. All right. What else do we need? So now we can pass in that right here. Send text message to this channel from, we need to know who the currently logged in user is. And thankfully, if you remember in the last couple of episodes, we created in the authentication module, we created a publisher that we can actually subscribe to. And here's how we're going to do that. We're going to say, listen to auth state. And all we're going to do, if I remember correctly, is, let's see here. Let me think for a second here, guys. We're going to say auth manager shared, because it's a singleton, auth state. And we're going to receive it. Let's see. We want to receive it on the main thread. So receive dispatch queue dot main. And we're going to listen to information from that. So we're going to sync into it, and it's going to give us back this auth state. And thankfully, we can switch on this auth state because if you remember from the authentication module, it's just an enum. So we're going to switch auth state. We'll let Xcode do the bulk of the work for us. Fix that. Okay, so we have pending, we have logged in, we have logged out. And in this situation, all that we care about, honestly, is just the logged in scenario. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to move all of that out. And I'm just going to say logged in, and then I'm going to create a default. So I'm going to say default. And for the defaults, let's just break the enum. And this log state thankfully comes with a currently logged in user. So I'm going to say current user, right? And let's create a class property, and let's call it currently logged in user, something to let us know what the current user is. So we're just going to say current user is of type user item, and let's make it optional. We can always unwrap it. Now the user inside of this auth state, we can say self the current user is equals to this current user right here, or we could call it logged in user, whatever you want. And now this is going to yell at us because this is combined. We need to store this subscription in some sort of a cancelable. So I'm just going to create a set up here. I'm going to say private var subscriptions. This is just for combine. And all that we need is, if I remember the syntax correctly, it's just a set of type any cancelable. Any cancelable. That's all we need. And then we're going to store the subscriptions. And now, because we're good developers, I'm going to create a deinit block that sort of removes all of the subscriptions that we're storing. So I'm going to say subscriptions for each subscription, cancel it. So if we ever get out of this chat room view model, I don't want to listen to anything, and remove all. And let's also just set the current user to nil for the instance of this view model anyways, because why not? So, all right, so we have the currently logged in user. All we have to do right here is unwrap it. So we're going to say get let current user, else return out of scope. That means we're not logged in. So now we're going to say send text message to channel from current user. We know what the text message is because it's already up there. We're passing that text message, and incomplete. Here we go. Let's create a weak reference because we're inside of a class and we want to make sure that the automatic reference, account is being properly handled. So now let's print, just send a simple print statement, and let's just say message service is sending. Okay. And let us go inside of our simulator and run things to make sure everything is working as expected. But before we do that, actually, we need to call this listen to auth state instead of our initialized block. So we're going to call listen to auth states because we want to listen to this authentication state, obviously. I'm going to minimize this panel a little bit. And let's go into our chat room screen, actually, because right here we're creating our, chat room view model, but we need to be able to initialize it with a channel. And the way to do that is to change the way we're currently initializing our view model. And so with a simple solution, we're going to create an initializer here that comes with a channel. We don't want to take in the view model. I'm going to remove that. Thank you for the channel. Now I'm going to access the view model like this. And I'm going to create a new state object now where the wrap value is going to be chat room view model with the one that is asking for a channel. And then I'm going to pass in this channel. So now I can remove this view model up here, move it up here. And now we're not going to initialize it here. We're just going to say it's of type chat room view model, but we're going to initialize it right here in the initializer. And so just like that, this is how you pass this is how you do some dependency injection from your view to your view model. It's just another, way of doing that. I know it's manual, but it works. And so let us run our project on a simulator, make sure everything is working as expected. And let's see if that print statement is actually going to come up. So let's wait for Xcode to do its thing. Thank you, preview. Boom. So let's go inside of this channel. Let's type in a message. Hey there. Let's click send. If we go back, let us see, why is this not printing? Okay, there is something going on. Send. Let's go back to Xcode preview. Our simulator. It's not printing, but no problem. Let's jump into our, oh yeah, I know why. So let's jump into our message service. I'm sorry, guys. We need to execute this incomplete. So I'm just going to call this incomplete right here. Incomplete. And if we run the simulator really quickly, I'm sorry, guys. That's on me. That is not Xcode's fault. So let's go right into a channel and let's type in a new text message. Hey, if we click send, and if we go back, as you can see, message service is sending, which is exactly what we're doing inside of our chat room view model right here. So now let's actually go handle sending a text message. So I'm going to jump into the message service now and just do just that. And so the first thing that we need whenever we are sending a message is to construct the message dictionary. So I'm just going to start doing that. And let's see, for a message dictionary, we know it's going to be of type string to type any. And I'm just going to open up everything. And so what do we need for a message? We need a text message. And I can't remember if we created a text key, but let's just keep going. We need a text message. We need a type. We need to know what type of message it is. And I'm just going to say message type. Pretty sure we have a message type struct or and I'm going to say text, the title. Let me jump right in there. Do we not have text? Interesting. Let us create a computer property up here called title. And let's just do that really quickly. We're just going to save title is of type string. And let's just switch on self. And the reason I don't want to make it a string, I don't want to make the enum a string. You might be thinking, why not just make this message type enum a string? The reason I'm not doing that is because we're going to be doing way more work here in this message type. We're going to be having an admin type as well that takes in some sort of admin message type as well. And just, making this message type would just not be a string. It's all going to make sense in the next coming episodes. But for now, let's just return, for text, we want to return, type text. And I'm just going to copy this and paste it a bunch of times. Photo, video, audio, and that's going to be audio. That's going to be video. That's going to be photo. And that's pretty much what we need. So now let's jump back to our message service struct. And I'm going to say message type dot message dot text dot title, which is the computer property we just created. What else do we need for a message? I know we need some sort of a timestamp because we need to know when that message was sent. So I'm going to create a timestamp right up here. I'm going to say like timestamp. And timestamp is just going to be our date objects. We're going to say date, if I can spell, dot time since 1970. Okay, so we're going to say that is our timestamp, which is a type time interval. And we also need to know who sent the message. You know, what's the user ID of the person sending the message? And that's going to be the current user.uid. If you think about it, it's the currently logged in user that's sending a message. And I think that's pretty much all we need for the message dictionary for a text message for now. The other thing we also need is we need some sort of a channel dictionary, because if you think about it, in the completed projects, the only way we're able to know, what specific preview, the only way we're able to get these metadata, for example, this preview for a specific channel, is by setting, the last message into that channel dictionary in our backend. And the solution for that right now is just, we're going to create a channel dictionary. It's going to make sense as well. It's going to be of type string, to type any. And let's see. Let us open up this bad boy. What do we need for a, channel dictionary? Well, we need a last message. This is the part that I was talking about. And this is going to be the text message that has been sent. And we also need the last message. Let's see. Do we need the last message type? We're going to need a last message type eventually. But like for now, let's just say latest message timestamp. And that's going to be of type timestamp. Okay. And right now, text is yelling at us because there's no such thing as text. And let me validate that really quickly by jumping into our message item. So if we go to our, let's see, we have our chats folder and our models, our message item. I'm going to open in a new tab. Do we have a text property? We have a type. We have no text. Okay, so I'm going to just create one of these keys again, and I'm going to call it text. Okay, and we are going to jump back to our message service. And so now that should work. So all we need to do now is set this to our backend. And the way we're going to just do that is we need to send this to our Firebase constants, our channel reference. We need our channel ID, and thankfully we have our channel in the parameter, so channel.id. And then we're going to update our child values. And all we're going to update it with is our channel dictionary. Okay. And also we need to send our Firebase message to our messages ref, the child. We're going to do channel ID. And we're going to do message ID. So we need to create a message ID, and we're going to do that in just a second. But for now, let us just complete this. We have a message dictionary. Now, what is a message ID? Well, this is going to be a random UUID, random identifier that Firebase generates for us. And we're just going to say message ID. It's kind of like the channel ID as well. We're going to say Firebase constants, the messages ref, the child by auto ID. And we know it can be optional. And we're getting the key value. We're getting the key, And so we're going to return out of scope if for any reason we can't create that. But usually that's always going to be there. So that's pretty much all that we need in order to be able to send a message. If you think about it, we're making sure that we're updating the channel information to know what the latest message is. And we're also making sure that we are setting the message dictionary. And now I think the last thing we're going to do is, let's see. Do we need a type here? The next thing we're going to do is we're going to run our project. But before we do that, let's go to our chat room view model. Let us set this text message to nil, right? Whenever a message is created. So we're going to say self.text message is equals to nil. And let us remove this and remove that print statement as well. Let us run our project in a simulator, and let us check our backend as well once we send a text message to make sure everything is working as expected. So we have our channel. Let's say we go in with QA user 4 and we say, hey there, my friend. Right? Let's say we click send. That clears the text field, which is good. If we go out of the channel, look at that. We have our latest message is, hey there, my friend. And if we go to our backend really quickly, look at that. We have our channel messages from our channel ID. So I'm going to guess it's this message. It's this message right here. And so what we're doing is we have our channel ID and then we have our message ID. And so we're getting the right information. We're going into the channel. We're going to the channel messages reference, appending a child by auto ID key, and then we are setting the message dictionary. And as you can see, we have all of the information that we need right here. And so that's for the channel messages. Now, if we go into our channels node, I think everything is still working as expected. If we open all of our values, I'm looking for the last one. Where is it? Where are you? Right here. And as you can see, we have the right information. So it has last message, it has last message timestamp, and everything is good as expected. So that's pretty much it for this episode. In the next episode, I'm going to focus on decoding these messages that we just sent. So we can send a couple of them. And in the next episode, we're actually going to get this data to show up in our chat room screen. I know this episode sort of got out of hand. It's getting too long. So let us end the episode right here. In the next episode, we're going to pick off right up from here, and we're going to start displaying the messages in a specific channel. Thank you for joining me as usual, guys. If you love and enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It means the world to me, and it gives me the motivation to keep going. Thank you very much. I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.